My programming is often there's like a core bit of repertoire, and then it kind of expands beyond that. And the sort of new thing that I've introduced this time around is a new transcription I've written of The Bells of Notre Dame from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is one of my favourite openings to any Disney film. My name's Anna, I'm an organist, and I also work as a conductor and choral director in Cambridge in the UK. So I'm director of music at Pembroke College. I feel as if I would not be who I am today at all had I not had an amazing music education. And it's a whole collection of different things. It's having schools that encouraged music as an important part of who you are as opposed to a kind of added extra. But it's also having music teachers who were so pupil driven. I always say to young organists who are perhaps starting out on their journey and still at that phase where everything feels a little bit horrible, push through that, because it really, really, really will suddenly become easier one day. And it's like riding a bike. Something will click and your brain will figure out how to coordinate your hands and your feet. If you want to know why you should think about trying the organ, I mean, like, you can go from playing the quietest thing that is barely there to a sound which shakes the walls and people can hear it right at the very, very, very top of a room and they feel it hitting them in the chest. It's such an exciting instrument, and you get to be every instrument in the orchestra. There's definitely something to be said for being able to mimic so many instruments from the orchestra. I mean, some of my happiest musical memories are sitting in an orchestral rehearsal. That feeling when everyone plays together for the first time and the floor shakes. But as an orchestral harpist, I counted a lot of bars rest before I got to play anything. So being able to play the whole time is quite nice. Writing my own transcriptions is where the real joy is with playing this instrument, because it feels like it brings together my whole musical background from over the course of everything I've done as a harpist, violinist, viola player, and kind of puts it in one place. Our role as musicians is to play the music that feels right for us. And I've always loved film scores. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to sit there on the piano, listen to a soundtrack, and then try and figure out how to play it. That's just what I did the whole time. So it just feels like the most authentic thing for me. And since I kind of started following that as a route, I went from hating performing to loving it. And so I think we have to listen to that as players. Music is not a test. Giving a concert shouldn't be a test. And if you're getting anxious about one thing because the instrument doesn't feel like it's playing ball, change that one thing. And I think that's something we should talk about perhaps a little bit more in the organ world, because you can read all about the instrument as much as you like. You can read all the specifications, you can watch the videos. But there's nothing quite like sitting down at it for the first time. And if something doesn't work, then have the confidence to change it. I think people who are slightly more traditional maybe don't like my style of programming, and that's fine, because we don't all have to do everything, right? We don't all have to be everything for everyone. In the same way that I don't think every organist should be playing film music. It should be what feels right for them. And there are so many organists who I really respect who can play the core repertoire so much better than I would ever be able to play it. And I'm like, amazing, you do that and do it really, really well. And that's not what I see my role as. I see my role as trying to be a bit of a bridge, and say to people who perhaps haven't come to an organ concert before, okay, this is an instrument that you perhaps aren't familiar with. Here's some music that you are familiar with on this instrument that you're not familiar with. Now, do you see that actually this is quite a cool instrument? And I really hope that they might come to one of my concerts, hear that music and go, cool. And that makes them, I don't know, 50% more likely to go to another organ concert when they see it advertised. I think it is so important that we are looking beyond the kind of core repertoire. Again, I would say I don't think it's something that everyone has to do. If they're not comfortable doing it, then that's fine. But certainly, I mean, when I started posting on social media, I was still being told the whole time, nobody likes the organ, it's just not relevant, I'm sorry. So when we were sort of talking to TV companies and radio companies about shows about the organ, we would just constantly hear, it's a lovely idea, but it's just too niche. No one really cares about the organ. And a year and a half later, 1.5 million followers later, they are interested in the organ, and they have been brought in because of the film scores, but they stay for the Bach, they stay for the Derouflé, they stay for Debussy. And I think, allowing ourselves to be a little bit creative and free with our repertoire choices and not feeling straitjacketed by expectation or tradition, I certainly have found that process really, really, really liberating. I love Pipedreams. So I've known Michael for a while, and we've been kind of emailing over the past couple of years. I just think it's so great to have a show dedicated to this incredible instrument. And also, I saw firsthand the work he's been doing to encourage young organists, which I see as kind of the most important thing we can all be doing. Seeing that manifest in a 14, 15-year-old playing incredibly in front of 200 people, it's really exciting.